What's up, everyone? Welcome to ClearTalk. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Meuller and Trump, and why is it that Trump hates Mueller so much that he posted that post on True Social the other day? Absolutely despicable. So we're going to talk about this. So thank you very much for joining me here. If you are new to Clear Talk, welcome. Welcome to the channel. If you would like to check out more videos from the channel, please do so. Consider subscribing, like, share, and comment, okay? Comment, talk to me, all right? To help grow the channel, to help, get more people and bring more videos to more people. Subscribe, okay? Just subscribe. You don't have to like do the notification stuff if you don't want to. I don't care. Subscribe. It's free. It helps me out tremendously. That'd be amazing. We are on the road to 500. That's what my goal is. 500. Okay? That's all. Let's get to 500. All right? Then we can go wherever from there, but I need 500. And if you would like to check out more videos from the other channels, please do so. Consider there's JMD there, JMDPLAY, JMD Puzzling. Subscribe to those as well. They're free for you. Is amazing. It helped me out. That would be amazing. To help grow the channels, help grow, JMD Nation, whatever. There's Patreon there if you want to go more. If you want to do more than just free, $3 a month, support any of the channels that you would like to help grow those channels, help grow Patreon, help grow JMD Nation, and contribute to that growth however you would like to. Okay, that would be amazing. And any contribution and support is given is very much appreciated. And I thank you very, very much. And if you're returning, you are freaking amazing. Welcome back. Keep coming back. Because you're what makes JMD Nation. Okay, so what are we talking about here? The other day, Robert Mueller, if you didn't know, you've probably heard of the Russia hoax. Robert Mueller was the special counsel investigator in Trump's first term that was investigating the whole idea around the Russia interference in the 2016 election. Okay. In 2021, Robert Mueller was come out that he had, I think, Parkinson's disease. And on the 21st, I think, Saturday, he died from that. And Trump, in very Trumpian fashion, posted on True Social his reaction to that. Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. Understand that this is the president of the United States. Okay. Yes, it's Donald Trump, but understand that Donald Trump, I think that sometimes that escapes people, that Donald Trump is not just Donald Trump. He's the president of the fucking United States. And the president of the United States is posting gleefully and happily, thankfully, over somebody dying. It's like, it's so unbecoming. It's like there was no need. There was no need. There was no need. Especially after if you remember when Charlie Kirk died. And you had all the right that putting him on the pedestals and, revering him, almost on the level of like Jesus or something. Like he so amazing and, all this kind of stuff. And then you had people that did not agree with him, did not, and opposed his views, which is perfectly okay. You had people that opposed his views and declared like, to any degree of like, okay, yeah, he died. So what? Or like, well, he had horrible opinions, horrible ideas, and, he got what coming to him. That kind of shit. Or, some of them like downright was like, good. I don't have a problem with that. And the right lost their shit on that. That how dare these people say that? Okay? How dare they say something like that? And you even had Trump, who condemned people celebrating this, stating, we wouldn't celebrate it if something happened on their side. And we don't. These are sick people. They are really deranged people. The crazy part about this is Robert Meuller isn't even the other side. Robert Meuller is a Republican. He just wasn't a MAGA Republican. He would be considered what Trump would say was a rhino. Again, though, it doesn't matter. If you oppose or you do not agree with Trump, he'll throw you under the bus. He doesn't care about you. You are nothing to him. And even though he made the claim back with Charlie Kirk, we wouldn't do that. That's what the other side says. They're deranged. They're crazy. They're insane people. They hate America. They hate. That's all they do is hate. We would never do that if they happened to their side. Well, we have seen multiple times back with the killings of ICE in Minnesota, where the right was damn near celebrating those deaths. They didn't care. Good riddance. They deserved it. Blah 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 blah. And then you have here again, Robert Meuller died, and Trump is gleefully celebrating it on Truth Social. Just to go and show you that they don't care. They don't care. They are completely full of complete hypocrisy. And they are not consistent in their ideology. They're not consistent in their opinions or their thoughts or their proclamations or whatever. But who is Robert Meuller? If you do not understand the whole history of that, okay, that's what I'm about to lay out here. I'm about to show you who he is. So before you or if you have preconceived notions of him or whatever, we're going to go over that right here, right now in this video. So if you are interested in that, continue, please. Listen on to the very end, all right? We're going to go through this, okay? So, who was Robert Meuller? Pop over. All right. Robert Meuller was an American lawyer, okay, who served as the 6th director of the FBI, the Bureau of Investigation, from 2001 to 2013. He was the director of the FBI. Okay? But before that, he graduated from Princeton and New York University. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps. Okay? During Vietnam War, he served in the U.S. Marine Corps as an officer During the Vietnam War, he received a Bronze Star for heroism and a Purple Heart. Okay? Meuller was a platoon leader in the Vietnam War. His platoon came under attack, kind of like it was they got a surprise attack, and like half of his platoon wind up injured. Okay, had casualties. He earned a Bronze Star, and Purple Heart for saving, from pulling one of his injured platoonmen from the battlefield. Okay? He was injured in this same incident. An injury to his hip in the same incident pulled him from the battlefield. And then once he recovered from his injuries, he went back into the field to continue leading those that were left for the next few months until they were finally pulled from the field altogether. He eventually works his way up to captain for the next couple of years until he finally leaves the military altogether and goes into law school. He went to the University of Virginia Law School. He was a registered Republican, and he was appointed and reappointed to Senate confirmation positions through multiple administrations, from H.W. Bush to Bill Clinton to W. Bush to Barack Obama, from Assistant Attorney General to Attorney General to I think even maybe the DOJ potentially, or maybe he worked under as multiple different positions, but then eventually becoming the director of the FBI from 2001 2013. This guy is a war hero and a lawyer that worked his way up to director of the FBI. Very much by multiple people's standards, a merited and fairly decent guy. Okay? If you remember, in 2016, during the campaign, what happened? During the campaign leading up to the election of 2016, there were allegations and concerns that Russia was interfering with the election and that they were basically sending propaganda videos and whatnot shared across United States to individuals, trying to influence them, basically on behalf of Donald Trump, to try to press for Donald Trump becoming president, because by that time you had Donald Trump going versus Hillary Clinton, and because the Democrats are morons, and instead of choosing Bernie Sanders, they chose Hillary Clinton, which was the stupidest thing they've ever done. But I'll digress. And Russia thought that Trump was going to be better and help them out in more ways, so they tried to push for Trump. Or that was the allegations, okay? And so after Trump gets elected and becomes president, the DOJ then starts to investigate into those allegations to try to find out whether or not Russia actually did interfere, and to what degree they did, and who was involved. Who from the Russia side was involved and who from the U.S. involved. All right. And the concern was that there were individuals within Trump's campaign and potentially even his administration that were linked in some sort of way to these allegations in this potential whatever. Okay. And to what degree even Trump was connected to it. And so in 2017, they appointed Meuller as special counsel to oversee this investigation with the DOJ on Russian interference. All right. That's what happened. And it was praised by most people, this decision, because they felt that Mueller would be the one guy that would actually try to find the truth and be honest about it, although there have been some criticisms of it since. But Trump was hated it because he knew this investigation was around him and that he was a part of this, and that they were, the investigation he looked at as, oh, they're trying to find me guilty of something. I'm so innocent. They're trying to find me against you. Russia. All right. So, this is what happened. In 2017, Mueller met with Donald Trump as a courtesy to provide perspectives on the FBI and input on considerations for hiring a new director. Because you remember, 2013, he left. I was no longer director. The meeting was initially widely reported as an interview for him to actually serve again as FBI director, but because there is term limits on FBI directors of, I think, like 10 years or whatever, he technically could not. He was not eligible to return as director. And furthermore, he apparently had no interest in resuming that role. Okay. Then, of course, the next day, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed Mueller to serve as the special counsel for the U.S. DOJ to investigate and oversee the investigation on any links and or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of Donald Trump, and any matters that arose or may arise directly from the investigation. Okay. This investigation went from 2017 to 2019. In 2017, June 14th, the Washington Post reported that Mueller's office was also investigating Trump personally to possibly obstruction of justice in connection with the Russian probe. The report was questioned by Trump's attorney at the time, who said in a Meet the Press, the president is not and has not been under investigation for obstruction, period. Due to the central role of the Trump campaign, the transition in the White House, the president's son-in-law, Kushner, who also reportedly under scrutiny by Mueller, and we know that he was, he got like billions of dollars from Saudi Arabia. He's been like, this dude has made millions off of his connections with the administration from the first one to now. Also in June, Trump allegedly ordered the firing of Mueller, but backed down when then White House counsel John McGahn threatened to resign. I'm skip down a little bit. On October 17th, Mueller filed charges against former campaign chairman Paul Manafort and campaign co-chairman Rick Gates. The 12 charges included conspiracy to launder money, violations of the 1938 Foreign Agents Registration Act for acting as unregistered agents of a foreign principal, false and misleading FARA statements, and conspiracy against the United States. On December 1st of 17, Mueller reached a plea agreement with the former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who pleaded guilty to giving false testimony to the FBI about his contacts with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, maybe, whatever. As part of Flynn's negotiations, his son, Michael G. Flynn, was not expected to be charged, and Flynn was prepared to testify that high-level officials on Trump's team directed him to make contact with Russian representatives. On February 16th of 18, Mueller indicted 13 Russian individuals and 3 Russian companies for attempting to deceive Americans into consuming Russian propaganda that targeted Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton and later President-elect Donald Trump. Okay, so there was attempts at targeting both at some different points, and he is indicting even Russian individuals. Okay. Again, remember, this is a Republican. February 18, Mueller charged attorney Alex van der Zwaan with making false statements in the Russian probe. Trump criticized Mueller, tweeting that the world's most expensive witch hunt was found nothing on Russia and me, and so now they are looking for the rest of the world. At the rest of the world, Mueller also began investigating in August 2016 meeting between Donald J. Trump Jr. and an emissary for the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The emissary offered help to the Trump campaign. Mueller was additionally examining the campaign's possible ties to Turkey, Qatar, Israel, and China. The Washington Post reported on a Senate commission study concluding that Russia disinformation teams had targeted Mueller. March 19, Mueller concludes his investigation and submitted the special counsel's final report to the Attorney General William Barr. A senior Department of Justice official said that the report did not recommend any new indictments. He had done finished his investigation. He's like, I'm out. Here's what I found. Y'all do with it what you will, basically. On March 24th, Attorney General Barr submitted a summary of the findings to the Congress. The special counsel's investigation did not find the Trump campaign or anyone associated with it conspired or coordinated with Russia in its efforts to influence the 2016 U.S. presidential election. That was from Attorney Barr. Mueller's report reportedly did not take a position on whether Trump committed obstruction of justice. Barr quoted Mueller as saying, "While this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him." I repeat, it also does not exonerate him. April of 2019, the Department of Justice released report on the investigation in the Russian interference 2016 presidential election. The special counsel's final report and its conclusions. Mueller announced that he was retiring from special counsel and the office would be shut down. He spoke publicly about the report for the first time, saying the report is my testimony. He indicated that he would have nothing to add beyond what was written. On the subject of the obstruction of justice, he said, under long-standing Department of Justice policy, a president cannot be charged with a crime while he is in office. So the report states that it does not conclude that the president committed a crime, but it also does not exonerate him. In other words, there was not enough evidence, more than likely, to say yay or nay on whether or not he committed a crime. And even to the extent that one could take what evidence was found and would charge him or indict him, he stated a president cannot be charged with a crime while he is in office, insinuating that there was very good chance and possibility that one could take from this report that he was guilty and he could be indicted. But he's president and he's in office, and you can't do that right now. He repeated his official conclusion that the report neither accused nor exonerated the president, while adding that any potential wrongdoing by a president must be addressed by a process other than the criminal justice system. Mueller also reaffirmed the involvement of the Russian operatives in the Democratic Committee email leak and their parallel efforts to influence American public opinion through social media. Referring to those actions, he stated that there were multiple systematic efforts to interfere with our election. That allegation deserves the attention of every American. So, his reports did not conclude that Trump or anybody in the administration or the campaign had committed crimes, but it also did not exonerate him. Neither one or the other. It was basically, you could argue, I guess, inconclusive. But yet Trump, ever since As you know, we're constantly hearing about the Russia hoax. They tried to get me, but they found nothing. I was exonerated. That's what him and MAGA has stated over and over again. That great, amazing job Mueller did, because in his report, he completely exonerated me. I was found not guilty of any wrongdoing. Russia host, the Democrats, blah, 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 blah. But yet that's not what the Mueller report said at all. As a matter of fact, Mueller, to some degree, was even arguing in his very carefully placed words that, well, he's in office, so he can't be charged anyways. This would have to be done after the fact. And it would have to be done by a different department. Now, the criticisms that have come from that is that Mueller was weak and that he didn't want to go after him and that he basically gave Trump an out. And you could see and argue maybe that is somewhat of the case. But he was being honest, I think, as much as he could be, but also playing within the laws and rules of the DOJ and what could be said and what could be done and released or whatever based in the investigation. More than likely, it probably needed to have gone further and longer and more extensive to be able to find. But he indicted multiple people, mostly Russian, more than even here. But Trump continued to hate on him and talk bad about him ever since. Trump, as usual, switching and twisting of words and acting like something is nothing when it certainly isn't. Or certainly is, rather. The Russia hoax. They found me not guilty, although that's not what it found at all. If anything, it found that it was just inconclusive. And that further investigation probably needed to be done. But you have a man here, again, who is a U.S. Army veteran, really, fought in the Vietnam War, a hero, pulled a fellow member off the battlefield while injured, then to go back on the battlefield to serve as leader for his platoon, continuing their mission until pulled. I mean, on all regards, a pretty decent guy. Goes into law school, but works his way up through multiple administrations, gaining the knowledge and respect of many people in Washington. Highly regarded, very merited. Now, how the Trump administration loves merited people. For him to take up this investigation as special counsel, not even actually go to the point of indicting Donald Trump, albeit that he technically couldn't anyways because Trump was president. Retires from it and lets it go, releases a report and lets it be. Y'all do with it what you want. Here's what I found. It doesn't say yes, it doesn't say no. Further investigation probably needs to be had, but there it is. This is what I found. And Trump and his administration, Trump and all his goonies have repetitively attacked this guy over and over and over again. Witch hunt, Russia, Russia, Russia hoax. They try to get me. I'm so innocent. And it doesn't even matter, really, whether or not he's innocent or guilty in any of the Russia interference question. Mueller was just doing his job. He was just doing what was asked of him. To do an investigation, and whatever that led to, that's what he released. He was asked to do a job. He did that job and then released his findings and left. And in falling ill with a disease that, I'm pretty sure most would not consider wanting to die from. Nobody wants really to come up with some sort of physical disease or any, whether it's cancer, Parkinson's, whatever. Dementia. Nobody, he dies. And the president of the United States says this: glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people, insinuating on himself that he's innocent and he hurt me. Absolutely despicable. Absolutely despicable. This is what this guy is. I don't know who said it, but I saw recently where somebody said, I don't know who it was, stating that you can see what somebody is. You can see who somebody is through how they speak about the dead. And that is so true. You can see the humanity or the character of somebody when they speak of the dead. This is Donald Trump showing his character. This is Donald Trump showing who he is. Someone who just does not care. Despicable. Speaking out of both sides of his mouth. Acting so innocent and self-righteous in one sense. We would never talk about somebody like that. It's only the deranged, crazy people that do that. Well, apparently he's crazed and deranged because he just did that. Absolutely despicable. And again, just adding to all the despicable things that he has done. And adding to the ever-growing list of things that his supporters are accepting of him, agreeing of him, praising of him. Absolutely ridiculous. So there you go. There's your history of what happened. Trump, butthurt over being investigated by this man just doing his job. Just doing his job. And not even concluding that he was guilty or concluding an indictment or anything else. And Donald Trump celebrating and praising the fact that he just died. Let me know what you think. Until next time, peace. ClearTalk. Peace, ClearTalk. I'm out.